same video as the intro.
John, you might as well. John, just write it.
Okay.
That sounds great, dude.
Yeah, it does.
Collector and everything. Yeah. Dude, this shit is just.
This dude will get out of your way.
Oh no, I can stay in this lane, can I? It'll turn, doesn't it? Or
yeah, no, yeah, you're good. You're good. I'm just saying if you'll get out of your way,
you get out of my way. I can go. I know.
Pull around to the right.
Okay.
Yeah.
RPM. That's so crazy to me. It's like, that's not even where this motor wants to live.
Right.
Jesus, it just pulls all day. It wasn't even. That's like blowing.
What
my
RPM
mind,
was
dude.
that?
That was literally to like 5. That's what I'm saying, dude. Like.
All right, Jared, what are we doing here?
Rehydrating, quenching some thirst for some sweet cars. And probably the last time I'm ever going to see this GT350.
Yeah, unfortunately. It's sad, but that's what's gonna have to happen.
Just fix the header, man.
It's expensive, bro.
I know.
And I don't want to do it.
For you? You even checked there?
How's that? Parts
You know
farm?
about the parts farm, and he's over
That's where I
here.
got that Coyote.
Really? Oh,
Yeah, they buy up like broken down GT350s and shit all the time. So maybe they got a whole exhaust waiting for you, and you can just be like, you know what? I'll take that.
yeah.
Nah, Joey's selling it.
I don't know,
He's
bro.
selling it. He's
It's
a
too
Mustang
late.
hater.
Too late.
He's
It's too
selling
late.
it for all of 2 weeks.
This thing's broken, bro.
Every time you floor it, it sounds like somebody put rocks in a tin can and shake it.
Yeah. Bro, that looks so good, though.
It really has a Lamborghini paint job. I'm not gonna lie. That color is crazy.
I know.
I thought you were tripping a little bit when you got that car. I was like, that color is not the color.
That's not the
I thought
move?
you were tripping on the color a little bit. I was like, that's not the color, but
It
today I
looks
changed my
good,
mind.
dude.
Yeah, today I changed my mind. One of
Yeah,
the better colors. This looks better than the white, I think.
I think so.
Every guy's got a white with the blue stripes GT350.
Yeah. So yeah, we're just here taking a break. Just got that got the GT350 clean, nice and clean. You guys just watched that little montage of that. Now we're just gonna go get some roller footage and get some last video of the car before I ship it out. Probably be shipping it back out next week. I'll talk a little bit more about why I'm shipping it back. Bye.
Welcome back, guys. This is going to be a sad episode because we're getting rid of a car. We usually don't sell our cars, isn't that right, Joe?
Yep.
We usually just hold on to them
Keep them
forever
forever.
until
No one wants to buy them.
a really, really good deal, or we just trade them between each other. So, but yeah, Joe, tell us what happened with this GT350. We went all the way to Las Vegas. We went all the way to Lake Havasu to get this one. Drove it back a couple hundred miles.
Well, yeah, long story short, we flew out to Las Vegas. They picked us up. We drove down to Lake Havasu, and we saw this beauty. The color is just absolutely phenomenal.
What do they call this color?
Orange Fury, yeah. There's Competition Orange and Orange Fury. Yeah, so anyways, this beautiful, beautiful Orange Fury. Yeah, it was just, once I saw it, it was really popping, and the color combo with the black stripes, exactly like my buddy Jesse's from back in the day. I learned to drive stick on that car. So I thought it would be, if I was getting a Mustang, might as well get that one.
Yep.
But anyways, we picked it up, right away. We turned it on, sounded fantastic. That VOODOO just is insane. It's kind of ruined me, because nothing's gonna quite sound even nearly as good. But
yeah, they did a good job on this flat plane crank. We'll get into some of the issues on the vibration side of things.
Yes,
but yeah, we picked it up They showed us around the car. Joe noticed a few issues, like on the front splitter.
Yeah, the
on
front splitter down here was a little bent. It was missing a fastener underneath, and was just a little jacked. We went ahead and fixed that whenever we got back. But overall, the car seemed mostly really nice. But once I got in to do the test drive, at that point, I had already bought the car, so there wasn't really anything I could do about negotiating or anything. It was already mine. But we were there, and prior to purchasing the car, I did have a pre-purchase inspection done by an independent shop there in Lake Havasu. So I set all that up remotely because originally I was going to buy this sight unseen. I wasn't even going to drive it until
beforehand.
I set up shipping. That ended up falling through, so we ended up just buying tickets and flying out there and made a trip
Real
out of
cheap
it.
from where we're at. So
Yeah, so it wasn't bad, but the let's see, for the pre-purchase inspection at that shop in Havasu, whenever they said everything was great, exhaust was modified, but modified back to stock. So I was thinking, okay, well, they probably removed the cats, I don't know, down pipes or whatever.
something common that you do on a Mustang.
Exactly, but according to them, it was all put back to stock. So I was all right with that. I wasn't really too worried about it. They said the cats were welded back in. But like I said, didn't have a chance to take a look at it until we showed up.
And since I came out there with them, we looked underneath the car the best we could, around the car. I gave Joe my 2 cents on it. And, of course, the dealers play there. I did the 160-point inspection
Yep.
At our service center, and everything was, lickety-split, no problems at all. And
Exactly.
then the third-party inspection, we thought, okay, this is a solid car all the way around. And it's only got 27,000 miles on it. So
Yeah, exactly. So pretty low, somewhat low mileage for a 5-year-old car. A lot of these Shelby GT350s end up staying pretty low miles, but those ones go for a pretty penny. So this one, 2019, asking price, well, after negotiation, I had them down to, I think, like 54. I think it was like 57 out the door after everything. So pretty good price for a 2019. So yeah, with the 2019 revisions to the VOODOO, so ideally you'll eliminate the risk, or at least minimize the risk of all of the oil consumption issues. That was my biggest concern with the GT350. But the 2019-2020, they had revisions on the VOODOO that kind of carried over from the GT500, from my understanding. But with the with the 2019, you get quite a few, minor updates as well, interior wise, a better material inside.
you got trans cooler and
Yep. And so the full
cooler.
after, I think, 2017, the track pack was standard.
Nice.
So I basically had all those coolers installed and integrated.
And the only thing this one really didn't have was the race seats in it, right? These are the
Correct.
premium seats.
Correct. So this has the tech pack. So it has the B&O sound. I think it's a 12-speaker system with the sub. That's definitely one big improvement, as well as the large screen.
Yeah, bigger
Infotainment system with the Apple CarPlay. So those are all the things. I was planning on dailing this for at least until the fall. So I was really wanting those comforts. But with being the tech pack, you do get the comfort seats, which heated and cooled seats, which are fantastic. That AC works great. But yeah, I mean, outside of all that, the car looked great. We had the pre-purchase inspection done. We pull up, we turn it on, looks great, sounds great. But instantly, when we go to drive it, I'm hearing this weird whine from the transmission. Now, we weren't 100% sure if it was an issue or not, but it kind of sounded like once you're on throttle and the vehicle transmission's under load, it sounds like a supercharger.
Yeah, a little bit of a whine or a background whir.
Yeah.
When you'd put a throttle on it. And first we thought maybe it was the intake manifold, aftermarket intake manifold, or something like that, and we could hear the sound in the cabin a lot. But it just seemed to persist throughout the entire drive back, and all the way up while you were driving it around town, right?
Yep, exactly. So it just really wouldn't go away. More obvious under low RPM, because the VOODOO wasn't overwhelming until 3,000-4,000 RPM. That VOODOO starts screaming, especially after 5,000 and 6,000 RPM. This thing is just you know, you're listening to the exhaust note more than anything. But you know, like I said, I had already bought the car, so we were bringing it back. We luckily it had 4 months left of factory powertrain warranty, so wasn't overly concerned. I said, okay, I'll take it back to Ford when I get home, have them look at it. It'll probably be under warranty if anything. So we did the trip back. It's fun, super
Yep.
fun drive.
Yeah, we taped that one. You guys probably already seen that episode, and we got it back to the shop, cleaned it up,
Yep.
took off the cover that we put on for that long journey, so we get a bunch of rock chips over there, and
Yeah, exactly.
finally jacked it up, at least halfway up. And what do we find, Joe?
Well, yeah, pretty quickly we said, oh, hey, wait a second, those aren't stock headers.
Yeah,
Those aren't stock headers.
it really didn't seem like stock anything, because I'm like, man, this car is loud. It sounds great, but it seems louder than what an OEM car would be. And
Right.
I've been around other GT350s, and they just didn't seem as loud as this one. So I'm
Yeah.
like, I wonder if something's been done to it.
Yeah, so you know, took a closer look, and yeah, those were aftermarket long tube headers. They sounded great. I wasn't really worried about it at first. That wasn't really any concern. But you know, 2 weeks later, I was driving it around. Everything was good, and I had decided I'm gonna take it in this weekend to Ford. I'm gonna go get that transmission problem looked at. It was getting worse. The whine was getting louder. The pitch was increasing. So it sounded like some type of bearing failure potentially. So anyways, I think it was like Thursday or Friday night. I was driving it home, and something went wrong, and it wasn't the transmission.
Yeah, so the exhaust, we looked under there, and I looked up at the aftermarket headers, and the passenger side looked normal, like any aftermarket header, stainless steel. But on the driver's side, it seems like somebody had gone up underneath and MIG welded the side of the header. And I thought, man, did they do that so the bolt doesn't spin? Because if it was, they reused studs or something like that. But I looked up under there, and you wouldn't even be able to get the exhaust out.
Exactly.
The way that they just threw a MIG welder up while it was on a lift.
Exactly.
And so it was pretty evident that something wasn't quite right with the exhaust. And as Joe just said, by the second, third week of driving it around, not really, beating on it or anything, the header actually failed.
Right.
And so now, as you guys probably can tell from some of the footage, it sounds like a tin can full of rocks at times when you floor it. So
Exactly. So
essentially, one of the runners on that header has almost completely severed and is rattling a bunch, which, as I mentioned earlier, is really one of the key problems. Yeah, so on these VOODOO's engines, yeah, they're flat plane crank. The Ford engineers did a fantastic job, but it's really hard to balance a flat plane crank. The European V8s have been doing that for a while, and this is really Ford's first big endeavor into something like a flat plane crank V8. And I think, as Joe said, there's a lot of problems that have mixed between the 2016, 2017 model year and the headers, which can fail on any car technically, especially in a performance application, with the added increased rev range for this, up to 8,200 RPM, even more.
Yep.
It's really taxing on something that's cantilevered off like that doesn't have any real support, depending on how those headers are designed. And so we don't know what make these headers are. They just seem like a generic long tube. We looked around, see which ones kind of look similar. We found one, and it's like $2,000 for another set of headers. And I don't know if anyone who's watching has changed headers on a late model Mustang with a mod motor. It is not easy. Even on a 2-post lift. So when the first one I did was on my back on my garage floor, and it took me 2.5 days to do. On a post, it's 8 to 10 hours usually, depending on what you got to move around and everything else. So it's not a simple job. And at this point, the headers are completely failed. He just needs brand new headers. So
yeah, so it was super unfortunate, but it was right before I was taking it into Ford. So for the transmission problem, remember, there's still something really wrong with the transmission, and then the headers failed. So, at this point, I think I had the vehicle for maybe 2 weeks, not very long, was really enjoying it, and was, enjoying driving it around. Had already been pulled over one time, different story, but
it's a warning, you're good.
Things were mostly going good until until that. So long story short, drop it off at Ford, our local Ford dealership here in town. And it took a while for their transmission specialist to take a look. But while we were waiting for that, they did go ahead and take a look at the headers. And they said, yeah, the welds on these have failed. They're aftermarket. And he did say this full exhaust system's aftermarket has been modified. So not exactly sure. We didn't spend too much time under the car. Our 2-post lift is kind of occupied at the moment. We did jack it up, crawl under, and look around, and there had been some work done to this car for sure.
Oh yeah, it was very evident.
All right, guys, we're gonna pause right here, cut to a commercial break because it's getting toasty. These cameras are not holding up right now under the sun, but yeah, we'll be right back. All right, where were we?
So obviously we went back to the shop. It was a little hot.
It was a little
We got
toasty.
some drone footage for you guys. Pretty nice little spot. So I think we left off that this was getting a new transmission. Everything was all jacked in it.
Yep.
And the headers are still jacked.
Yep.
So you called up the dealer you bought it from in Lake Havasu, didn't you?
Yeah, so pretty early on, I let them know what was going on with the transmission. And then right when the headers failed, I let them know, hey, there's something wrong with the car. I'm going to take it in. And, they were pretty understanding to begin with. I mean, the whole time really, but from the beginning, they were saying, yeah, we'll make sure you're taken care of. So just let us know what Ford says. And, once I found out everything, I sent the quote for the headers over. And right away, the guy that I was working with at the dealer, he called me up right away and said, hey, I'm not going to pay that. It was like $8,000.
Yeah,
I'm not going to pay that. Doesn't make sense.
And it's the factory restrictive exhaust. So it's like, why would you actually do that unless it is covered under factory warranty? But in this case, I'm surprised they even covered any of it under factory warranty.
Yeah, I'm surprised that the transmission. Yeah, exactly.
All of it.
Yeah, but
they did.
The dealership said, all right, well, I'm not gonna pay that. I'm not gonna get that fixed. But what I will do is I'll unwind the deal. We'll pay you back. We'll pay you back for. They're gonna cover my down payment, all the tax, title, license, registration. I guess not license, tax, title, registration, and the 2 payments that I made on the car so far. So basically, I'm coming back clean. Minus the expenses for the trip, but we had
a good trip.
We had a good time.
Got a video out of it.
Yeah,
we got to go to Vegas. We got to go to Phoenix a little bit.
Exactly. Got to see Shelby.
I was a little under the weather, if I recall, during that trip, but only by the tail end.
Hey, we made it. We made it work.
We made it.
Yeah. So, and then besides that, I think there's a $200 diagnosis fee. Yep. For the header, looking at the headers. Everything for the transmission was covered under the factory powertrain warranty, but for the headers, it wasn't. So I think out of pocket, I'm coming out the $200 and the trip and gas. Other expenses like insurance, but I needed that for a car anyways. And
yeah.
But long story short, I'm getting rid of the Shelby. It was a little busted, which is unfortunate.
So did you like it for the I don't know, a couple of weeks that you actually got to
drove it? The few weeks that I had it, honestly, this car is incredible. I did a lot of research, a lot of soul searching when I was figuring out what I was going to buy.
Yeah. And
when this was the conclusion, I was not sure if I was going to like owning a Mustang. Still not 100% sure it's me. I don't know if that it's my car.
Coming from German.
I still really like German. I want to eventually get into an R8, either Gen 1 or Gen 2. But for what I was looking for, this made a lot of sense.
Yep.
I was really looking for a power jump from the S5. I still wanted it to be manual. I wanted to have a V8. I've never had a V8 before. And I've never had a rear-wheel drive car.
Right.
So those were a couple things I wanted. And, this one just made a lot of sense. It was, it's kind of top dog in that for all those categories.
especially with that Voodoo. Very unique car.
The Voodoo is really what I think seals this car.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the standard GTs are nice. You can get them with performance package. They had
Right.
the Bullet for
Yep.
this gen. They had the Mach 1 for this gen,
Right.
which I have a lot of. Good cars, but the sound of the flat plane crank V8, even though it has some problems associated with it,
Right.
it's still a worthwhile car in my opinion.
Yeah, and it's a head turner. I mean, this color is just incredible. I know I already said that, but it just in person, this thing just looks insane. Everything about it with the contrast with the black looks amazing. And yeah, I mean the 5.0, the GTs are good looking cars and they sound good and they have a lot of low end torque.
Yep.
But the looks of the Shelby for me
the front
are
end
worth
definitely
it.
seals this. Yeah.
Obviously the sound on the Voodoo as well, but you know the front end just looks incredible. The wide body, and I love it. It's a good looking car.
It's a good
You know,
car.
I'm sad that I have to let it go.
Yep.
But it just makes sense with
does.
considering the issues and you know, yeah, we could, you know, buy some more aftermarket long tube headers, put them on, spend
But-
a weekend getting it fixed, and it'd be a good car.
Yeah.
But
It
you know,
does. Yeah.
just a little worried with this one, with considering what went wrong.
What we found, you know, it
Yeah.
seemed like the guy. This is obviously a used car. Before Joe bought it, probably thrashed this one a little bit, even in 27,000 miles.
Right.
But it is what it is, right? Now you have the opportunity to go find something else.
Yeah,
you
see
know,
what
add
see what's
something else
next.
to the channel and
Go back
see
to the
what
drawing
interests
board.
you have.
Yeah.
But I think the big takeaway here is the GT350 is amazing. Probably don't get the earlier version, 16, 17, but definitely consider the later version.
You really want the 19 and 20.
19,
That's where it's at.
20.
You get a lot of
And,
improvements.
Know that there's going to be some issues. If you're going to buy one used, and obviously you are at this point in time, make sure that the dealer, if you're buying it from a dealer, actually did their job.
Yep.
Make sure that it's a reputable mechanic, third party, if you're going to get it
Yep.
serviced or examined before you buy it.
Pre-purchase
And then
inspection.
definitely in the first 1,000 miles that you're owning it, pay attention to everything. Luckily, he had that factory warranty that really got him out of a bind.
Yeah.
Maybe the dealer would have been able to work something else if that wasn't the case, but that was pretty handy in this case. So basically, you got off scot-free. You got to test drive GT350 for, you know, about a month's worth of time for a minimal amount of costs, and now you get to go on to something else.
Yeah, honestly, like for me, what I really enjoyed is, you know, I let a lot of my friends drive this car.
Yeah.
You know, you, me drove it back. Jaden, Sean, John, Jesse,
All the
Jake.
days.
I still need Chris to give it a try.
Yeah.
Shoot, who am I missing?
Well, it's like-
my buddy Joey.
Yeah.
And just bro, the smiles on
All the
everybody,
kids.
it was worth it, bro. This thing's wild. It's crazy. I really loved it, and you know, all around it is a performance monster.
It eats up the twists and the turns, and in a straight line it'll still throw down pretty well, but the fact that it'll rev out to 8,200, it's still mind-boggling when you think that you want to shift and you realize you still got another, you know, 750 RPM to go before
Yeah,
the red line.
sound wise, you're listening to it and you think, okay, I got to shift, and then you look down, you're shifting. I was only at 6,000 RPM.
Yep.
I had another 2,000 plus.
Yep.
And this thing just wants to pull. It just wants to go. And you know, we had some fun comparing this with your 04 Mach 1.
Yep.
That was interesting.
That was interesting. It's
Had
obviously
some fun.
modified versus slightly modified. So,
Right.
Not too bad of a race, but I guess now the question will be, is a viewer will probably find this, or
Yep.
could find it, and somebody else is probably going to buy this car once
Correct.
they fix it up and sell it.
Yeah.
So, it's a good car.
I'm not. I really, once the headers are fixed, I don't think there's too much to be concerned with. Yeah, that was the biggest thing. I did get lucky that the transmission was covered, because in total, the transmission work I think came out, it was either $7,000 or $8,000.
Yeah.
The headers was going to be around that if I were to just have Ford do it.
Yep.
So we're talking like $15,000-$16,000 worth of work
For a car that's already worth 60 grand.
Exactly. For a
ridiculous.
$60,000 vehicle,
And
that's
it-
a quarter
and
of the cost.
Leaves a bad taste in your mouth. So
Yeah.
on to the next.
On to the next, but you know, I enjoyed it while I had it. It's a head turner. And it just, the sound, if you've heard of
can't beat the
VOODOO,
sound.
if you've driven a VOODOO, you know what we're talking about here with that. So
It's amazing.
yeah,
That's
but
probably where we'll leave them, is with a clip of the sound, because it is just
yeah,
awe-inspiring. So
agree with that.
with that, this car is going away. It's going to get put on a truck here in the next couple of days,
Yep.
and Joe's going on to the next car. I don't
Moving
know what
on.
nobody knows what it will be.
Who knows? We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll
There might be hints somewhere in all of our videos that you could figure out what you may or may not, but honestly, no, you're not going to figure it out.
yeah. But yeah, anyways, that's pretty much it for this. It was a fun car. I love it. I'm still have second guess myself. I'm like, hey, should I just put the headers in? Because after we driving it around a day,
Yep.
You
I
know.
knew it happened to him.
yeah. So anyways, thanks for
watching,
listening,
guys.
Thanks for watching.
Short series, but again, we're going to start up another one. Maybe Joe will just keep going from car to car.
Yeah,
And,
just hop
we'll start a whole new segment
over.
of Joe's car fanatic,
Yeah.
car history. So, all right.
Anyways,
With that, thank you guys for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. We'll catch you guys in the next episode. Catch you later, faction.